Hey guys, I'm Alvin Wayne.
And I'm Lydia from Wild.
And today we're going to show you the proper way to repot and care for your Fiddle Fig Leaf Ficus. Try to say that 4 times fast.
Yeah, I can.
So if you're new here and you like what you see, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you're returning, thank you and welcome back. Now let's get started. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Let's go.
So usually when I assess a plant situation, I usually ask the person, especially for a fiddle leaf fig, how long they've had it. I don't recommend that you repot a fiddle leaf ficus right when you get it because they need to acclimate to their new environment. So that's good to know. And now it's a great time to repot.
Perfect. And a little backstory. So I actually found Lydia through one of my friends and via Instagram, and
here we are, and now we're best friends.
I know, we BFF. So she is like my plant whisperer / guru. So I could not do this without her. I was not going to do it without her. Let me repeat, I was not going to do this without her.
I know, it's overwhelming, it's super scary. Fiddle leaf ficus are definitely a favorite, and I even actually told him, like, you might not want this as your first plant. If it is your first plant, we were just getting to know one another. He's like, I'm moving into this beautiful place with all of this light. And I was like, okay, then you're the right person for this.
All right, so when you got this plant, it had more leaves on the bottom, correct? Did it lose any leaves from the top?
Nope, no leaves from the top, only the bottom.
Yeah, so that is always going to happen. When you get a fiddle leaf ficus, it's coming from, I mean, when you imagine where a fiddle leaf ficus grows, it's going to be in an outside, in a whole bunch of sunlight, in the tropics, with perfect humidity, perfect, you know, the perfect situation for it. And we're bringing it into our home. But we're taking it from a greenhouse, which has slowly acclimated it into a lower light situation so it can slowly get to your house and not be so shocked that they'll lose everything. The thing about this tree is that it has such big leaves that it's devastating when you lose one. So across the board with any plant, if you see leaves drop, they're actually just like figuring out what kind of light they have, they're adapting, and they're gonna drop the leaf that they don't have enough energy to give food to.
So one question is, how often have you been watering?
Okay, so I started doing once a week, and then I was misting it, and now for the last 2 weeks I kind of just left it alone because I felt like I overwatered it.
Okay.
I felt like I was doing something wrong.
The humidifier, I don't know if you've watched the other Instagram stories. He's got a humidifier, a moisture detector, and he has a beautiful pot that he wants to be potted in, and it's the perfect size for it to move up to because it's 2 inches bigger than the pot that it's in. We'll get to that. Right now we're talking about watering. So once a week sounds great, and without me being here, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
With the light that you get, I would say we need to have water once a week. The less light they get, the less water they need. So I'll tell that person once every 2 weeks. And to see when to water next, because it could be in between that time, you stick your finger in the soil. I know you have to get your hands dirty. There are different tools out there too that can tell you how to do it. You stick your finger in about 1 to 2 inches deep, and then if it's dry, if your finger comes up with nothing on it, then it needs to be watered.
All right, so I saw you brought some fancy little tool. Looks like you know when you go to AutoZone or Pep Boys, they like stick that thing in there to see what's wrong with your car while you check engine light on. So I guess we're gonna figure out why the check engine light is on for my plant.
This is actually what photographers use to check the light to take photos, like just how much natural light they're getting. And it's actually something I learned from another plant guru, Houseplant Journal. He's amazing, this guy named Chip Darrell.
Okay, so what is the actual proper reading for a ficus?
That's 400 to 800 foot candles, and we'll just stick with foot candles for now.
Perfect, and I have...
You have 500, 550 in the afternoon sun. So if I were to come here earlier, it probably would have been stronger, which is great.
That's so good to know. Oh, perfect. Okay, so now that we know it's not my sunlight or the amount of light that I get, what is wrong with my plant?
So what I would have initially said to you while I was watching on your Instagram stories, I would have thought, or been like, that's normal. The bottom leaves are going to drop, always, because it's going to make room for new growth, and it's just adapting. So that's going to happen. And 2 to 3 leaves, 2 to 5 leaves is totally okay. If you start seeing all of the leaves starting to change color, then that is, yes, definitely devastating, and also it means there's a bigger problem. But I wouldn't say there's so much of a problem except for consistency of watering. And then that's about it. Okay. And we're going to fertilize because we don't know when was the last time it was fertilized.
This is true.
So, yes. So my next question for Alvin is, how much does he water? Not how many times a week, but what type of container are you using to water this?
So I'm going to show you the container that I actually use to water them. Oh, no.
Beautiful cadenza.
Which needs to be restained, by the way. This is what I actually water my ficus with, and I actually fill it all the way up, and I only do one.
Okay.
So.
That's great to hear. I mean, it's great to see that it's not a drinking cup, because I see a lot of people go, oh, I just do that, you know?
It's for cocktails.
And so I think that's a great container, but it still will have to be done a few more times, because you want to look at, no matter what size plant, you want to like soak the entire root ball, or else it's never going to get to the edges of the leaves. So it's like going up the plant, and it doesn't go all the way, because the hole is only maybe just in the center soaked, right? So once you start to, and that's why people do a lot of like, they do their watering once a week all together, as long as they have the same types of plants that need that much watering, in a bathtub. They get a nice shower, they soak it, they know it's been watered, they let it drain, they put it back in its place. That's actually the most efficient way, but I mean, it can be a lot when you have a huge tree. So.
Oh no. All right, and so now we're actually going to repot my ficus. Now that I know I'm not killing it, so now we can get on to the dirty work. Shall we?
Yes, let's do it.
So, where do we begin?
Okay, so my first question for Alvin was, does this pot have a drainage hole?
And it does not. Lovely planters from C2, and it does not have a drainage hole.
And they never do. People ask why. I can't tell you why. I would say potters are very skilled, but they don't necessarily grow plants. And they don't always come with a very beautiful saucer, so we need to fix that later. So we're going to take the plant out. Yeah.
Yes.
You take the plant out, and then you just put it to the side, and you flip your pot over. You're going to need a drill and a drill bit that is at least 3/4 wide, and it has to be able to break into masonry. It's pretty easy to do. You can add a little bit of water to make it go faster, so that you don't crack the pot, but usually it's pretty easy to get through the pot.
Perfect. Let's take this baby out.
Okay.
Great news, this pot actually does have a starter hole. It just has a little rubber plug in it. So you want to take that out, and you see that this is here, but there's, if you imagine the water going through this big pot and then slowly draining into this tiny little hole, it's going to be really hard for it to get down. So it will probably create a little bit of a pool of water, which leads to root rot.
Okay, so I had to get another drill bit. This one's actually better for masonry. I'm not sure which one I have. So then you just carefully guide it and just let it go. Alright, and then now we take the tree out of its grow pot, and we shake it out. So you want to loosen the root ball. This root ball is all root bound. It's kind of, wrapping around itself, coming up to the top. That means that it's ready. But in order for it to tap onto its new home, you just want to give it a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance, kind of just massaging the shape that it is so that it just loosens up. So as I'm going, I'm feeling that the root ball at the bottom is super thick, and it's like just root instead of soil, which means that it needs some soil for it to hold water, so you won't have to water as much. Root-bound plants need way more water than a plant that has a new home with a little bit more room. So for now, we're just going to place it back in the grow pot,
and I'm gonna grab the new soil because this plant is about like pretty low to the ground from the new pot it's going to be in, and you want this, you know, the trunk to sit pretty close to the top. So you fill the bottom. We're going to put the plant in, and we're going to fill in around, so we also kind of straighten it out a little more because it's kind of leaning towards the side. And then we'll go from there.
And that's perfect advice. Your root base should be equal to the top of your pot. I learn something new every day.
So I'm pulling the roots out just gently. It doesn't seem like it, but I am. And kind of tucking them down so that they're back in a new home and not, you know, up at the top. If something's not straight, you usually want to pull on it and just put pressure on the side that you need, and probably add a little bit more soil, and then you'll water it and it'll have that weight and be, you know, start to tuck into the new root. Okay, so now this is where it starts to move forward, and then you have it straight and it goes down on the side. There's a lip on this. It just takes a little bit of extra time because I'm just tucking it in there. It's not, you know, you want it to be hitting the edges of the pot.
And you know what's also interesting too? So this tree was leaning, but it was leaning because it was actually growing towards the sun, right?
Yeah, that's what most plants will do because they really react to changes. Don't move your plants here and then across the room. It's going to just like make them act really weird.
So I'm glad you said it because a lot of people on Instagram are like, oh, maybe you should move your plant, maybe you should do this. My tree is very happy in her home. I'm not going to move her. She was just dry.
One thing, I don't know if you noticed, I was pulling away from the stalk and the roots. The roots that are in the center don't really want to be messed with very much, especially with ficus. So you don't want to like plop on some new fertilizer or soil for it not to breathe, because that's really kind of like their gills in a way. That's how I learned. So I pull it away to the sides, and then I always kind of water in like a circle around it and a few times. So the next step after you pot with this brand new soil, you give it a very good water. That's what we'll do next.
Perfect.
Okay, so we move the plant back to its original home. This is where she lives, right?
That's right.
And we have a saucer to catch the water, so we do not run through the floors. And we put 4 of these, about this size, into the pot, as much water as is the size of the root ball. And I would guess this kind of is about that much. So yeah, that's the best way to do it, because then you know it's actually soaking the whole root ball. And next, we want to do some fertilizer. I would usually recommend with the ficus you don't go crazy with this, but you want to do it once every season, and we don't know when the last time this is fertilized. So this is a good time. 3 months?
Yes.
Great time to do it.
All right, guys, so what have we done today?
We did a lot of things. We learned a lot about certain tips on like how to care for your ficus tree. We repotted it, we fertilized it, we figured out how to water it best and what kind of light it needs. So I think we covered everything.
Yep, we covered all your bases. And if we have not, please drop us a comment down below. And again, I am Alvin Wayne. This is Lydia from Wild BK on Instagram. So make sure you guys give her a follow. And she's also a florist too. So if you need
flower arrangements, events, you know, I do it all.
she does it all. And she's my own personal plant guru. So thank you for helping.
It was so fun.
So make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, share, and also follow her on Instagram. And you can follow me on Instagram at Alvin Wayne. And until next time, bye.